Hey everyone, I'm Marina from Pineapple Yarn. Welcome back to my channel. I'm here to share with you what I have been working on this week. So I did a little sewing project. I'm wearing it. This fabric, I don't know if I've ever talked about this, but fabric is as addicting as yarn is for me. I love fabric. When I see fabric in amazing prints, colors, sometimes I have to buy it, find a pattern for it, find a project for it. That's one of the reasons I love making knitting kits and project bags for my shop, because I get to buy fabric and I love it. But I saw this fabric and I thought I have to make something out of that, and I want to wear it. I have not made clothes for myself for years, but I decided to just make this because it has alligators on it. I could not even tell you how excited I was. So this fabric is Florida Volume 2 by Sarah Watts for Ruby Star Society, and it just has these amazing patterns, alligators, all these cute motifs. And I'm gonna try it. Let's see if I can get up a little bit so you can see it. It's just a really simple, loose summer dress, and I had been wanting to make a very loose, a very just cool summer dress. With the humidity here in South Carolina, it is crazy hot, crazy humid for many months, and so this is just quilting cotton. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And the pattern is the Hinterland dress by Liberated. And I'm maybe 4 years off the trend for this, 5 years. I think maybe 4 or 5 years ago, this was a very popular pattern and I never made it, but it was exactly what I was looking for. I wanted something that was, number one, very simple, because this has a one-way pattern and I wanted to really highlight the pattern of the fabric. And number two, I don't have a lot of time to sew a complicated pattern, and so even though the I don't want to say the main pattern, but maybe this is better known for the placket and buttons on the front, they do have a modification where you can just cut the front and back bodice right on the fold. So it's so easy. It's so easy. You can pull it right over. And then this is just bias binding on the sleeves and or the armholes, and then on the neckline. I really like this pattern. There's so many different modifications for it. It's a very, very loose and easy pattern. It has pockets. It's such a great pattern. So literally it had 3 main pattern pieces. Well, 4 if you count a front and a back of the skirt, but it was so easy and simple. And so what I did is basically, because it is so simple, there's not a lot of pattern pieces, I just kind of looked at the fabric to see, where do I want to put, what do I want to highlight on the bodice. Obviously I'm looking for the alligators. I just thought that was so fun, and I put the fold right in the middle of the alligators. And so the whole pattern on the fabric is kind of a mirror image. So the whole dress is just a mirror image. It's super cool. I love the fabric, and I've already worn it. It's very comfortable. I think I mentioned I didn't make any modifications. Maybe the hem. I hemmed the skirt so it's just right below my knees. So it's very loose, and it's long enough so I can go garden in it. I can go outside and do things in it. It's not super short. I don't want a super short dress. And obviously I wanted sleeveless. I will probably make this again. The only things I will do differently, I love the fit on the top here, and I tend to have a little more narrow shoulders. I'm just very petite on top, and so this fit me really well. The back, let me set this tea down. I feel like I'm going to spill it. So the back, if you can see, it has just the slightest gap right here. I don't know I don't know yet if that really bothers me. We'll see, but I can always make 2 tiny little darts because it doesn't have a back seam. Or I can make a back seam and just curve that in just a little bit to fit a little better. Also, the bust darts are a little big on me. Because this is so loose, you can't really tell. It doesn't really bother me because this is supposed to be such a functional dress, but I will adjust that in the future. There are side darts right now for the bust, and I didn't make a muslin or anything. I literally cut it out and sewed it. So I'll probably modify those a little bit in the future. I think I like more of like a waist dart for the bust line, but it doesn't matter. It's not a very fitted dress. It's very loose and I love it. So I wore it today and then I thought, oh, I need to record today and I can show it to you. So obviously, y'all know I love these colors so much. I love these colors. But I also thought, and this was not something I planned, but I thought this looked very Hawaiian. Like from afar, it looked very like a traditional Hawaiian motif. And I thought that was very clever on the fabric designer's part. And I'm sure it was intentional. I feel like nothing is unintentional when it comes to fabrics and fabric manufacturing and all of that. But anyway, I was very happy with this, and it was really fun to sew something for myself because I haven't in a really long time. So yeah, it was very, very fast, and I did it piecemeal over a series of weeks. I did 1 seam, 2 seams at a time, put away my machine or, unplug it. I have it out here in the studio, which is such a luxury because I don't have to literally pack it up and put it away like I've always had to do. So, but it was 1 or 2 seams at a time, and but I got it done and I can wear it this summer, so I'm very excited. Today I decided to make myself a cup of tea. This is stash tea. It's acai berry. I've been putting this in orders. It's so good. It's very full flavored. Tastes like acai. It's very good. So, and as you can tell, it is, it's even a pretty color. So this is what I'm drinking this morning. I do have a finished object I'd like to share with you. And this is my dotted race shawl that I've been working on. So this is a fabulous pattern by Stephen West. It's one of my favorites. I talk about it all the time. I think this is the 3rd one I have knit, and I don't usually re-knit patterns. I always think I'm going to, and then I never do. So it really tells you something if I've already done this one 3 times in its lifespan. But I used a gradient mini skein set that I had in the shop last month, and this was called Sunwashed Citrus. And I have a bit of a story with this shawl. So I had started off with wanting to knit the entire gradient. I wanted to use every mini skein. There were 9 mini skeins in the set, and I wanted to knit the whole thing, and it was this beautiful gradient. It was just so pretty, so fun to knit. And I knit the whole thing, and I bound off in I-cord, and I blocked it, and I had it lying out on my blocking mats on the floor. And I started looking at it, and I realized it was way too big. And I had in my mind for this knit, I had a very particular size I wanted in mind. And I'll show you what I had in mind. This is the first dotted rays shawl I ever knit, and it was right when dotted rays came out. So 2016, I want to say. Thereabouts, 2015. I think that's when dotted rays first came out. And so I knit this, well, it had to have been 2016 or 2017 because I forgot. This is one of my first colorways that I ever sold in the shop, and it was made, I only dyed it once or twice and then didn't dye it again. I want to say it was Coral Cavern. I can't remember the colorway name. Anyway, so this was mine, and then this was Jinx Yarns in one of her experimental dye lots. And so it actually was supposed to be self-striping, and it is a subtle self-striping yarn, but it's not, it wasn't overtly self-striping. And then I had a Koigu color here. I don't even know what that was. That was a mini skein. It was a small, maybe a 50 gram or 20 gram skein of yarn. And then I had a homespun house at the very bottom here. And what was that? I don't remember. Maybe it was called Mirth, maybe? I don't remember. I'll give you a close-up of all these colors. This is a beautiful shawl. I wear it all the time. I love these, and I did fade these. So I did fade these into each other. At the time I was, followed patterns and read them and did what the designers intended. And now I don't really, I didn't fade any of the colors into each other on this one. I probably should have. It would have had more of a, I don't want to say should. I knew that was an option. I knew, going into it, it would be more fadey, but I didn't. And I just knit because I just wanted to knit one after another, and I am still happy I did it. No regrets. But anyway, so this shawl I wear all the time. And what I did is I went and got this and I laid it out on this shawl that was blocking, and sure enough, this was so big. And so what I did is I actually just counted on this shawl. I counted the eyelets down a row and matched it up with the eyelets on this. And then when this was dry, I frogged back all the way to that and then just bound off with the, with the yarn that was still attached. So that's what I did, and I ended up with this much left over. So basically I had a good, I'm going to say 2.5 mini skeins left over on this. I did weigh everything. This is exactly 50 grams. This is exactly 150 grams, which is funny because the total listed weight on these sets that I create are 180 grams. But mini skeins, normally when I get them from the mill, they have just a little bit extra, a couple grams on each one. And I guess it was just enough to equal 100 or 150 and 50. So it was 20 extra grams in that set, which is very interesting. Something to keep in mind if you're planning a project, that you will have, most likely you'll have a little bit extra than the listed weight, I guess. Or, if you think of things ahead of time, I guess you could weigh them as well before you begin. But I didn't think of that. So anyway, I have this ball left over, and I'm totally going to use this in the future. It's greens and turquoises. As you can see, the greens here on the shawl, just a little bit of edging. And I thought it was kind of fun because this is called Sunwashed Citrus, and just to have this tiny bit of green here, it kind of reminded me of a rind on a fruit. I don't know, that's kind of what it reminded me of. But I'm going to hold this up so you can see all the colors. It just begins with this gorgeous kind of cantaloupe melon color and goes deeper. And then, as you can tell, I didn't fade them. When I say fade, I should explain that a little better. Basically, it's alternating rows before you change a color. So when you get to the end of your skein, just switch and add the next color while you still have some left on the previous skein, and then you can just go back and forth and kind of blend those in, kind of fade them in. But I didn't do this because I just wanted to go one right after another, which is fine. So we've got, you know, beautiful kind of pinky melons into oranges, and down here yellows and greens. So I just love how this turned out. So pretty. So I think it turned out really nice, and I was very happy that I saved a set for myself from the last shop update, because I really liked making this. It was a great knit. It was so much fun. And I've said this probably for the past, I don't know, 4 episodes. If you are looking for your next pattern to knit, try out the dotted rays if you haven't. It's a, like I said, it's a pattern from Stephen West. It's easy and fun, and it has fun shaping, and obviously, like, his patterns are so well written, and they're great patterns. So now I have 2 of the exact same size dotted rays. Now my second dotted rays that I knit was from another fade set that I had in the shop, but it was of, I think that one was 6 skeins of 50 grams each. So it was 3 full skeins of yarn. It was basically 300 grams of yarn, twice as much as this. So it is a massive, massive shawl, and I don't wear it as much, to be honest. I just don't. This is the size that I prefer. I love this size. It is perfect for different types of weather, or air conditioning, or taking to the ocean, for those breezes. It's just really nice. So I love this size. And I should say too, this is kind of a size I made up. I don't know if the pattern is exactly written this way. And you know what? I'll just look real quick. So on the beginning edge, which is kind of this wider edge where you can see all the colors, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have 13 eyelets. So that basically means all these right here, and that is the pattern repeats. So if you knit yours, well, you can use up 150 grams, and your gauge our gauges are probably similar, but I got 13 eyelets on mine, and then, you know, the I-cord bind off at the bottom equals about 150 grams. So that is that, and it is very bold, very bright. I still think it would be absolutely gorgeous with something light blue underneath. I think it would just pop. It would be beautiful. So because it is hot here today, it is very humid. I'm going to take this off. I don't know how long I will actually be able to sit with it. So we are waiting for a storm to come. There is a big front moving through, and I think it's going to thunder, lightning, rain, basically all day. So I am trying to record this before it gets real crazy, and my kids go crazy in storms, excited and scared, and just all the emotions. So I am going to get this done before anyone really gets crazy. So that is my finished object right now. I am working on putting a few more stripes into my granny stripe blanket. I'm working on the May installation of the Mini Mystery Club, which I'll link below. I'm not quite finished with that, but I'll probably show that to you next week. So the next thing I want to share with you is so exciting. I'm just so happy about this, so excited. I recently started weaving again, and I thought, to be honest, it was going to be a long time before I started weaving again. I had had so many issues with my Kromsky Harp Forte. It was just frustrating, and I didn't have the time to deal with it. So I invested in a new loom, and I'm going to show it to you right now. So this is my new loom. This is a Glimakra Emilia. It is a 19-inch rigid heddle loom, and I recently purchased it. I purchased it from the spinnery. I will post it down below, and which is a great shop. I love purchasing any kind of crafting items from Jody. She's just so great. She is so fast. If you are an impatient crafter, she is the place to go for sure, because her turnaround time is almost instant. But anyway, this is the Glimakra Emilia. Like I said, it's a 19-inch rigid huddle loom. So my last loom, my Kromsky Harp Forte, was 32 inches. It was a very wide loom. And I have this all warped up right now with an 8-2 cotton. I believe it's from Maurice Broussard, 8-2 cotton, and it is in the colorways navy, and then this is a natural color, royal, and lilac. They're all in French. There aren't a ton of colors, so if you look online, you will find them. I will link them below as well. But I warped this up using, I basically doubled the strands through each eye and slot. So when I actually go, you can see I have a knot in here, and I haven't set it up exactly for weaving yet, but I will not have to thread anything through the eye because this is doubled up. It's double the ends. And this is I believe I don't think it says, I believe this is a 12.5 ends per inch heddle. And I want to say this is the thinnest that you can get from Glimakra. Now I thought this was a very interesting loom, and I'll tell you why I went with this company. Well, the first reason is I heard it was very, very sturdy, which is what I wanted. I did not want another loom that was going to break on me. The second thing is that it has these great cog and pawls. You can see the handle is built in. One of the things I loved about Kromsky Harp Forte is that it had metal attachments like this, so make it very, very firm. So for a firm warp, you could tighten it and not have to worry about slipping. Though I've had people tell me with their Ashfords or with different brands that this is plastic, that they haven't had any problems with slipping either. So, you know, it's that may be the case, but I really wanted metal. So this is metal, and one thing I love about this that the Kromsky did not have, and we'll see if this makes a difference, but the handle here is actually integrated on this piece. It's actually welded onto this piece. And so with the Kromsky, it was not welded on. It actually had a wooden, how was it? This went onto the bar. It slid onto the bar, and then it had a wooden piece that was screwed into the bar. And I think that's where the problem was, why my beam had issues, is because of the handle. So I thought this was just a very simple and effective mechanism. We'll see how that works in the future. Another thing that upon doing research with this, or with this loom, is if you can see, this is straight, but this is screwed so it can be adjusted. And how most people are weaving, they have this slanted upward, and what that will do is it will make the shed is the opening between the top and the bottom warp threads. It will make it wider so you can pass a boat shuttle through. You can pass, you know, a very bulky stick shuttle through. You have more room in your shed to weave on, which is it's really nice for a rigid heddle weaving. So that's another thing. And then as far as the size, the size itself is just, it's so great. 30, if I was going to do it again, which I obviously did, I bought another rigid huddle loom. I would not buy a 32-inch loom. I just wouldn't. 32 inches was way too big for what I needed. And while I had a lot of crafting potential with a 32-inch loom, at the end of the day, I just want to weave dish towels. I want to weave dish towels. I want to weave beautiful fingering weight yarn. You know, well, a lot of times I want to weave an advent calendar and make some throw pillows or something like that, which I don't need a 32-inch loom to do. So, I thought I'd try out a 19-inch loom, and so far this is so much easier to work with. So much easier. The other thing is that I want the ability to weave when I'm sitting with my family in the family room. And a 32-inch was really, really bulky. Our family room is not huge. And so I was taking up so much room with my 32-inch loom and trying to get it in a doorway and, you know, move it from out here in the studio to into the house and going through doorways. It was a little cumbersome. So this is going to be much easier. And I do have to say that the 19 inches is the actual weaving width. So it is a little bit wider than 19 inches. So I will talk now about my warp and, you know, the colors I used. Right now, this doesn't look very impressive to me anyway. I should say I did warp this up for dish towels. So if you've seen some of my dish towel videos in the past, I will be doing the exact same setup, and I will use I think it's my Leclerc plastic boat shuttle. It's very lightweight because on a rigid heddle loom, you are basically sliding your boat shuttle along the warp threads. You need something more lightweight. That's what I went with, and I've been happy with it, so that's what I'm going to use again. But the reason I warped it up with these colors, this navy is almost black. It's very, very dark, and I wanted a contrast between light and dark, so I could use any color, basically any color of weft thread, and see that contrast. I really wanted to play with some color with these towels. Yeah, just play with some color. Play with, you know, what does mint green look like with all of these different colors? What does pink look like? Things like that, you know, just really play with some contrasts. And so I used this royal blue, this lilac, because they do coordinate with each other. Obviously the navy goes well and the natural shade goes well, but it'll be really interesting to weave this up. I'm excited, and normally I do, you know, one towel at a time. I'll do the weft all one color, but maybe I'll do some plaid this time. You never know. I might do that. So anyway, I am so excited about this. I was so frustrated with weaving, and I wasn't frustrated with weaving itself. I was frustrated with my loom and the issues it had, and I just decided, you know, what am I waiting for? I want to start weaving again, and I can either buy this loom now and invest in it, and this is my hobby. Fiber arts are this is my hobby. This is what I do. And either invest in it now or wait a year and wish that I would have had another year of weaving, because I knew I was going to want to start weaving again. And lastly, it is not the time for me to get a floor loom by any means. Someday I will get a floor loom because I really want to invest in that, and I know that that's what I want to do eventually. I definitely don't have room for a floor loom right now, even a small one. I was looking at the Glimakra Julia, which is maybe a 24-inch loom, but even that, it's very, very tall. It needs a dedicated space. It is not in the foreseeable future. I don't think I could I could go back on that and it could be an I told you so moment. But right now it is not the time. I don't have the space to do that. So it's fine. This is going to do until I can move up into the floor loom world, but I'm excited about this. So I'll be sharing this with you in the next few weeks and showing what I'm doing on it. I'm very, very excited to be jumping back into weaving. It is raining so much right now. It just started pouring down rain. But yeah, my garden's going to be so happy after this rain. So happy. It's these springtime rains that you get and your garden just, it seems like everything just grows by a foot because the rain just nourishes everything so much. So I'm very happy for the rain. Before I go, I wanted to remind you that I am having a shop update this Friday, May 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at pineappleyarn.com. I will have several gradient sets and a knitting kit, and I also started stocking soak wash. So it's a great wool wash for all of your woolen items. And yeah, I do have a shop update preview if you're interested in previewing anything I'm putting in my shop. That's already up on the channel in case you're interested. But I really appreciate you joining me this week. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me. And if you liked this episode, I'd love if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I'll see you next week with another episode. But until then, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.